This on Facebook. Tonight we're going to be talking about how to get thin and how to get healthy and how to get our energy back, right? Okay? And so we're going to go through, look, tonight in the workshop itself, I'm going to do basically three things, okay? I'm going to tell you what your two biggest problems are that make it difficult to lose weight and get healthy. And then I'm going to address and go through our 6-week program and how we do that and help you get things back on track, okay? So my wife's going to help me, by the way, on that first one, all right? So she'll be in here in just a few minutes. Let me tell you this, first of all. Health. Come on in, Faith.
Okay.
Let me ask you, how do you think about this, okay? And let me ask you this question. Are people overweight because they're unhealthy, or are they unhealthy because they're overweight? Come on in, Tina. Let me repeat that again. Are people unhealthy because they're overweight, or are people overweight because they're unhealthy? Yeah, some of both, but I'm going to tell you by far, I fall into the last category. This is what I believe. People put on weight and don't have an optimal weight because they're unhealthy. And so ultimately, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you follow our Facebook page, okay, and thank you for following our Facebook page, please like and share this video if you have friends you think we can help, okay? That helps us more people to know about what we do. But so if you follow my Facebook, go back and look at the last 3 videos that we posted this week. I went through 7 different things that affect your health and then result in you being overweight. And that includes things like your digestion, leaky gut syndrome, food sensitivities, inflammation, your thyroid function, your adrenal and stress response, okay? We're not going to revisit all that, but just realize that when we get into the program and how we're able to help people lose weight so successfully and so consistently, that it's the reason is because we're dealing with the underlying health problems that are preventing you from being able to get to the weight that you want to be, to have the energy you want to have, and get the sleep that you need in order to be healthy. Because those are the biggest problems that I see with what's called weight loss resistance syndrome. And that's what basically we're talking about tonight. So next week, we're going to be doing something really exciting. I'm going to encourage you to be back because next week, part 2 of our New Year, New You is our 90-day health restoration challenge. And in 90 days, we're going to take it. I'm taking it. My team's taking it. We're going to team up and we're going to compete against each other. We're going to recruit some of y'all to help us, okay? So next week, we'll be discussing that. What's involved in really an overall health renovation, if you will, program, all right? And so that's going to be here in our office again next week. So for tonight, let's get into the 2 most common reasons that you have weight loss resistance syndrome. And I'm going to bring up our superstar guest speaker tonight, my beautiful and dear wife, Rhonda Clark, the best certified health coach on the planet. Now, she's going to talk to you about number 1 on this list, and guess what? She knows what she's talking about. Okay, so y'all listen to what she's got to say. I think it's going to be shocking. I'm going to go ahead and give you what it is right there. Number 1 reason. Oh, we love our sugar, don't we?
You know, most people think they don't really consume that much sugar, but I'm just going to, my job tonight is just to tell you how much sugar is in everything that you eat. So, this bag right here, I personally measured all these teaspoons. This is having 1 can, 12 ounce only soda for 28 days. This
28 days?
28 days.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
1 soda.
I did 1 soda for 4 weeks, 28 days. This is the amount of sugar that you will consume just by drinking that 1 can. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's loaded in drinks. So let's just talk about drinks. So, sugar, to help you, I'm going to tell you how to read labels. 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. So when you look on the back of a can soda, it has 39 grams of sugar in it. So it's basically 10 teaspoons. that you'll consume with one can soda. Let's talk about Starbucks. I'm just going to hit one there because many people probably had this on their way to work today and they didn't even think about it, or at lunchtime. A chai tea latte, just a grande. It's about that size. It actually has 45 grams of sugar in it. So it has 11.2 grams of sugar for that one drink that you consume. And that's really where sugar hides a lot in these drinks that we're drinking. Powerades are all up in the same realm. They all run between that 40 and 48 grams for one bottle, okay? But let's look at the other things. So if you say, oh, I don't drink at Starbucks, I don't do that, great. But look at all the condiments. So ketchup, 1 tablespoon of ketchup has 3.6 grams of sugar in it, which is basically 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of ketchup. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when you eat French fries or you put it on your burgers, who does 1 tablespoon? You don't. Really, I pulled up the average. They said the average person, when they eat French fries, eat 3.5 to 5.5 tablespoons of ketchup. And it really isn't that much. Okay, so you've just consumed, if you do 4, you just had 4 teaspoons of sugar. And remember that morning you stopped and got a chai tea latte, and now in your French fries you have 4 tablespoons. So you see how it accumulates. Now I will say mayonnaise and mustard, they have the least amount of sugar. So those are a great condiment you can use and not have so much sugar in there. But salad dressings are the same. Most salad dressings run between 1/2 of 2 grams to anywhere from 8 or 9 grams. So you're consuming anywhere from 1/2 teaspoon to possibly 1.5 teaspoons or 2 on your salad. Well, that's only if you have 1 or 2 tablespoons though. And see, that's another thing. Most of us, even if you go to a restaurant, they lather it in salad dressing. So you probably are consuming 3 to 5 right there in your salad. So let's look at some other ones. A lot of people think they're doing a great job when they have a snack bar. There are some good snack bars out there, but I'm going to tell you, I have looked at almost all of them. I look at them. I love to read labels. They run anywhere from 11 to 32 grams of sugar. So like a Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar, they say their healthiest bar is their apple, oatmeal, walnut. It has 20 grams of sugar, and that bar is only about this size. Okay? So you're consuming 5 grams of sugar right there in that. And a lot of times people have that as a snack. So, or some people trade out their breakfast and go, I'm going to eat this for breakfast, and don't realize they're having 5 teaspoons of sugar when a donut only has, a jelly donut at Dunkin' Donuts only has 15 grams of sugars in it, in one donut. So most people, now I'm not advocating running and going and getting a bunch of donuts. Most people don't eat one, but the point I'm trying to make is our society has gone to this, oh, I'm eating this, it's a lot healthier. And really you're consuming more sugar in that Cliff Bar than you do eating a donut because it has 45 grams of sugar in it. You know what I'm saying? So all these things accumulate. You know what I'm saying? Salad dressing on your ketchup. You have all these drinks. There was another, creamer. I didn't want to forget this one. Most people have a little bit of coffee with their creamer. So just the regular coffee mate in 1 tablespoon, their least one has 5 grams of sugar in it. Now I want to tell you something. Go home. If you put cream in there, measure it and look how many. I asked Siri what was the average creamer put in, and they said most people use about 3 tablespoons. And I'm going to be honest with you, today I was so curious. I measured 3 tablespoons. It's not much. I'll be surprised. I think if people are doing a decent sized cup of coffee, they're doing a lot more than 3 tablespoons. So if you're doing 3 tablespoons, which is the norm, you're consuming almost, because it's 5, you're consuming almost 4 teaspoons in 3. Wow. So do you see how it builds up your sugar from, I looked at a meal and thought, okay, so if you sit down to eat a healthy meal and you have a meat, a salad, and a vegetable, I'm for that, very healthy. But you know, you got a lot of sugar in your salad dressing, so it's so hidden in so many things. I think most people, they say the average American consumes 30 teaspoons a day. When I first read that, I said, no way. But I really started jotting it down and watching what people eat, talking to people, and they are. Most are, because they don't realize these drinks, these things for breakfast. So if you start your day off with a Cliff Bar, 4.8 grams, 4 teaspoons of sugar, then you stop for a chai latte at lunch, and you have a salad because you're really watching what you're eating, and you put 3 tablespoons of salad dressing on there with almost a teaspoon each. Do you realize how many teaspoons you're at? And you haven't looked at other snacks, you haven't had natural fruit, you haven't even counted your simple sugars yet in breads and pastas and stuff that we're consuming. So sugar really is the biggest culprit in our diet. It keeps us from losing weight.
I agree.
And so you really got to get the sugar out. And even that's not easy, but it can be done. If you have a great coach, it can definitely be done.
Amen to that. Hey, I got a question. So, like, how many, so what does that add up to? What does the average American consume per year? How many pounds of sugar do they consume? Do you know?
I did know that.
It's
I'll know it before
crazy.
your
Okay.
class is over, because I'll
It
go look
is-
at my paperwork.
It's gonna scare you.
Yeah.
I promise you. It's scary. Now, here's my part, okay? Because I want to tell you why. Now, look, who doesn't like sugar? Okay?
I don't.
Let me tell you, it's because you've trained yourself not to, okay? Because we do have an affinity for sweet. But here's the problem that it has happened, okay? Is that we have abused our taste buds. Now, taste buds change, okay? And they can get better or worse. And that's depending upon what you do with them. And then what I mean is, you tend to crave the foods that you feed yourself. Your taste buds can get dulled by giving them too many sweet things, and to the point where fruit doesn't taste sweet anymore. And the artificial sweeteners are the worst at that because they're super sweet. And so now you've lost your sense of sweetness, and you got to have more and more and more, okay? So that's a big problem. But ultimately, what the sweet does, and this is why you cannot lose weight, is because it makes you have to produce more insulin to get your glucose down in your bloodstream. Now, insulin is the problem while you're storing fat, okay? And I'm going to go through this, how this works for you. And I'm going to give you the 5 things that you can do to begin to decrease your insulin resistance. And what I mean by insulin resistance, when insulin goes up, insulin's a hormone. When any hormone in your body goes up, if it gets higher, cells become resistant to it. The reason is because the cell knows you can't let all of that hormone in, or it's going to be dangerous to the cell and it's going to kill it. So that means that thyroid hormone or estrogen or testosterone or any other type of hormone, if you have symptoms that are high for a long period of time, the cell becomes resistant. So now guess what happens? You take in glucose, you take in sugar, you make glucose inside your bloodstream. Insulin's having to go up to try to drive it into the cell. That's insulin's job. And all of a sudden now the cells are going, wait a minute, there's way too much of you insulin out there. We're not going to let you into the cell. And the insulin says, hey, we got to do something. So what's it going to do? It's going to say, let's store this energy as fat, and then we can use it later when we don't have a lot of food. Here's how it works. So for a normal diet, a healthy person, about 40% of all the food that they take in during the day is converted to what's called glycogen. Glycogen is your stored energy, okay, your stored glucose. So then that way, when you're sleeping at night and you don't have any food and your brain needs some glucose, it can just break down some glycogen and it can go about its business, right? What happens when those glycogen stores are all filled up? It's kind of like a refrigerator. Once your refrigerator is full, you go, I can't put anything else in the refrigerator. What are you going to do? You say, well, I'm going to have to freeze it. So I'm going to put it in the freezer. And that's what basically fat is. Now the body says, hey, we're going to have to put some fat. We're going to have to store it over here in fat. Because that way we can keep it for a long time, and we'll have it when it's ready, when we need it, right? The problem is we don't ever need it. We keep eating more, and we keep making more glucose, and we don't ever burn the fat. It's just storing and adding up, and our freezers are overflowing. So we got to get the insulin under control, okay? Now Now, I'm gonna tell you, diet's gonna play a huge role in this. But I'm gonna give you the easy ones to change here first that have been shown from research to decrease your insulin resistance. Number one is getting enough sleep. If you don't sleep well and you don't sleep deep and you don't get enough sleep, you're gonna have more trouble with your blood sugar and you're ultimately gonna have higher insulin levels, more insulin resistance, and you're gonna store more fat, period. It's been proven. Number two, stress. So you need to sleep more and stress less. Okay, because stress is going to produce a adrenal hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is going to produce, it's going to break down glycogen and bring more glucose into the bloodstream that you don't need, and the body's going to produce more insulin and then store it as fat. Okay, got with me? Stress, sleep. Those we can work on those. Never didn't have to change your diet yet. That's going to help, right? Uh-oh, now we're in the diet. Now we're getting into the tough stuff, right? Stop the carbs, or at least lower the carbs, okay? How much sugar, Rhonda, in a year?
152 pounds.
I thought it was 100.
Oh.
152?
3 pounds a week.
3 pounds a week? That's scary. That's scary. Average
Well, that's
American.
the average person, so
Yeah.
some consume more.
Yeah, and some less. Yeah, but man, that's scary. So, carbs, okay, that's your number one source of glucose. Okay, but the body also makes glucose from proteins. Okay, proteins can be broken down as well, but they happen slower and they produce more energy, so they don't burn as fast. Okay, so basically what we're saying here is if we're going to lose weight, we're going to have to get our glucose and our insulin down. And to do that, we're going to have to cut our carbs. Period. Low carb diet is the number one thing that you can do to begin to get your insulin levels down. What do we mean by carbs? All the things Rhonda went through. Sugars, we gotta get that out, okay? Gotta get that under control, okay? What else? Breads, pastas, starchy rice and grains, starchy vegetables, things like that are going to be your enemies. Now, vegetables are a carb. They're a carbohydrate. Why are vegetables okay? It's natural, it's one reason. The biggest reason is what Rhonda said, fiber. So here's how, we have what's called you have a carb load, and then you have what's called a net carb load. So in other words, you look at something like a cucumber, okay, and I don't know how many it has, okay, but it's got a certain number of carbohydrates, okay? But then you look at the net carbs, that means that you take the total carbohydrates and you subtract the fiber. So it might have 3, 4, 5 grams of fiber. You take that off of 8 grams of carbs, and now you don't have very many carbs left. That's why fruits and vegetables tend to be better tolerated, and you can help your blood sugar by not only lowering your carbs, but also by adding more fiber in. And the fiber I'm talking about is fresh fruits and vegetables as much as possible. Any way possible that you get into your diet. It will help you handle your insulin and glucose levels up and lose weight. Period. Suspended eating. Some people call this intermittent fasting. I call it intermittent eating. You know what that means? Is you got to have a period of time where your glucose goes low and you're burning up some of those glycogen stores, okay? And you're not driving up your insulin levels. And maybe even getting to the point where you're burning some fat, getting some stuff out of the freezer, okay? So how do we do that? Well, you do it every night, unless you eat during the night. That's why we have the first meal of the day is called break fast, right? So we break our fast in the morning. So we have a fast from hopefully 6 o'clock at night to maybe, 8 o'clock in the morning? That's a 14-hour fast, okay? That's where you need to start, is at least having a period of 14 hours minimum in between. But what I recommend is you try to push it up to 16 or 18 hours at least some days. Maybe not every day, but maybe you can do it at least 2 or 3 days out of the week, and that's going to really help your insulin levels get better. These two are number one and number two as far as effect, the biggest effect, okay? And the fifth one is start exercise. So guess what exercise does? Exercise and the intermittent fasting, okay, these do something to the cell, especially the muscle cells, that allow the glucose to actually get into the cell without insulin. So that greatly helps your insulin level. See, glucose can get into the cell through certain receptors without insulin. And so we'd like to do more of that so we don't have to drive up our insulin levels, which then end up causing us to store more fat, right? That makes sense? So those 5 things: sleep more, stress less, stop your carbs, suspend the eating for a period of time, okay, and then start some exercise. That'll make a difference, right? Now, what do we do, and how do we help people lose weight quickly and get their health back under control so that they can then go forward from there? The 6-week intensive weight loss and detox program. The Clark way, the number 1 step is decreasing inflammation. That's one of the 7 things that causes people to not be able to lose weight, is inflammation. So in our program, the first thing that we deal with is decreasing inflammation, because that's foundational. Number 2 is then we detoxify the body. Okay, that's steps there. And we also have to, by the way, in this one here, we have to also improve digestion. So we have to decrease inflammation, detoxify the body, and improve digestion. Increase metabolism, improve sleep. These are the benefits here. More energy of the program. Wellness lifestyle. This is ultimately the outcome, is that what are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to not only lose weight right now. Well, yeah, how many people have been on a fat diet before, right? Oh my goodness, right? Those never turn out good, because, I mean, and you lose a lot of weight maybe, hopefully, but then what happens, you just end up putting it back on, and most of the time more. That's not the goal. The goal is to begin to lose weight sensibly and to get healthier at the same time, so then you change your lifestyle and you have an easier chance of maintaining it. Okay? If you don't do that, it just doesn't work. That's why in our program we coach. Okay? So, how can we help? Let me go through this right here. Let me show you something. So, how do we help decrease inflammation? Okay? The very first products that we began to use, and it's not actually out here, is our Ultra D, because it's refrigerated, that's why it's not out here. Our Ultra D product is our anti-inflammatory product. It has vitamin D and fish oil in it, which are both anti-inflammatory. Then we began to improve digestion, working with a healthy type of probiotic. This probiotic here has actually been formulated specifically to help people deal with food cravings. Because you know what? That's a real deal. People have cravings, because again, you crave what you feed. And so guess what is causing some of that craving? Is what type of bacteria is in your gut. When you feed your gut fiber, you get good, healthy bacteria that are being fed, being called probiotics. And then when you feed it carbs and sugar, you feed bad bacteria, and that's why you continue to crave that, because the bad bacteria is sending signals that we want some food. And they have influence on everything from our brain function to our genetic expression, the bacteria that lives inside our gut. They did a recent research on twins. One twin was heavy and one twin was thin. They did something very interesting. They did a fecal transplant. They took some feces from one and they implanted it into the colon of the other one. Guess what happened? The heavy twin got thin when they put the good bacteria from the other twin in there. Did the same thing with rats, did the same result. Our bacteria has a huge impact on it, so this is a foundational product to our health recovery here, okay? We're going to also be doing something to speed up metabolism, remember? Okay? So this is to speed up metabolism, and we got to improve digestion. So look what this is. It's a prebiotic. You know what this is? This is food for your healthy bacteria that we're giving you. These work together. This is fiber, a special type of fiber that this bacteria eats right here. We're going to be giving your body nutrients. We're going to be dealing with your stress response. We're going to be dealing with getting rid of food sensitivities and chronic infections in the gut. And then we're going to go into liver detoxification and hormone balance. These are the things that are involved in this, okay? That's all in the 6-week program, and it's systematic the way we go through it. There's initial weeks, and then there's the 2nd and 3rd week, and then there's the 4th, 5th, and 6th week. You've done that before. You know
Yes, I
how
have.
effective that is.
Mhm.
And Rhonda coaches you through
Right.
this whole program. So this is how we can help. We have the nutrition coaching program, 6 weeks of nutrition coaching. Rhonda holding your hand the whole way. Okay? This is you. How do you get the sugar out? How do you identify? How do you make substitution? How do you start to use natural sweeteners and things like that? So you go forward, you don't ramp up your taste buds again to actually crave all this sweet sugary drinks and things like that. And so you meet with her, she gets you figured out where our strengths are, what we need to work on, how do we overcome things. She's also not only meeting with you every other week, she's following up in between to make sure that you're staying on track and answering your questions. That program is $425. The best program, and this is something we're offering just tonight, okay? And well, actually, we're going to be offering to people on Facebook. You can do the same thing. If you want to get on this program, you got to contact my office. Let me know. The complete nutrition coaching program, this not only includes the coaching, but this includes all the nutritional products that are out here, plus the 2 Ultra Ds that go along with this that are not here. The total on that is normally $775 for everything. Tonight, it's $850. Okay? You can schedule that tonight. This includes everything you need to get your weight going down. And what's the average? Okay? Usually the average is, come on in, young lady. The average is that you're going to lose somewhere between, I'm going to be honest, if you need to lose weight and you've got 40, 50 pounds that you need to lose, you're going to lose about 20, 25 pounds on average in that 6 weeks. Now, you're not going to lose it because you start. This includes no intermittent fasting yet. This is just going through the diet, okay, and taking the supplementation. Now, the diets change over the course, not the same diet the whole time, because we got to do a gut repair diet, and we've also got to identify triggers. We have to identify foods that you may have sensitivity to that may be causing inflammation or immune response, and therefore causing you to not be able to lose weight. So we have an elimination provocation diet that we go through. Okay? So we eliminate foods that are inflammatory, that may be causing your immune system to get upregulated, and we take them out for a period of 2 to 3 weeks, and then we let you have some of those back one at a time to see how you respond. If your energy tanks, your sleep goes down, or your weight starts to go up, guess what we know? Or if you feel bad, you can't tolerate that food right now, period. You have to have it out for a period of 3 to 6 months, let your body heal, and then you can maybe try it back again. But if you don't know that's going on, that's one of your problems, and you have no idea. So this is why you need a coach to walk you through this and help you know not only the foods to eliminate, how to bring them back, and make sure that you don't miss anything, so that at the end, you've got better metabolism. So guess what? Easier to maintain your weight, okay? You know what kind of diet you need to be on, okay? You've got your liver working better, your digestion is working better, then your adrenals are working better, your thyroid, and your hormones are more balanced. That makes it a lot easier to maintain. Without that, it's like this, right? It's just a roller coaster up and down. You lose weight, and then you go back and put it back on, maybe more, and then you try to find something else, and so forth. We've all been through that. So I'm gonna hang around and answer a couple questions. I want to thank the people on Facebook Live for joining us tonight. If you want to get in on this offer, contact our office and we'll get you signed up. Okay, we have 6 spots available. That's all we have room for in our coaching program right now. So if you wanted one of those 6, just let us know and we'll get you in. Okay. Thank you for joining. God bless. Have a great night. And for you guys.